The final whistle has just gone at Stamford Bridge, and the final score is Chelsea 3, Arsenal 1. I'm here with Chelsea fan Lamar. What are you saying, man?
Well, it's a fantastic win. I can't think that anybody thought before that it would be a surprise. But I mean, I think when Arsenal lose, it's not that they lose because that can happen. It's the manner of the loss. At times, the Hazard goal, I literally looked at the back line and thought, I can't believe it's not Butter. I just can't. Like, guy went through the whole team. I mean, and just some statistics as well. It's the 100th time Walcott has been substituted. I mean, it just didn't work out at all. But good win for Chelsea. We're carrying on with what we're doing, but I think, it all added up. As I said to you before, I remember you saying, Bellerin coming in or Monreal is going to be interesting on the wings, and I was like, I'm more interested in the middle, and I just knew it. Playing 4-1-4-1 with Coquelin on the ball. I mean, he came off. I mean, it just didn't work out today, I think, and I think this just gives even more mantra to the Wenger out.
It was. I'm gutted. It was men against boys from the start. A lot of people have said Arsenal started well. A few people have messaged me that, and that was what the commentators were saying. I didn't think we started well. I mean, generally we start games poorly, so maybe by our standards that was starting well. But I thought it was men against boys all first half. We were second to pretty much every header. Like, we were losing the 50-50s. I would love to have seen how many tackles Chelsea put in, because it was almost as if every time Arsenal got into the final third, it was just like, all right, guys, just give us the ball now. Like, the men are here, just give us the ball. Like, you've knocked it around enough. It was sickening.
What did you think of the change in shape and how that affected Ozil and Sanchez?
I can't understand what happened, because I saw Iwobi come in the middle, but I didn't really know who was on the left. Who went onto the left? I don't understand what happened. The change of shape when Giroud come on, or what?
No, you changed your shape from the very beginning because it seemed like Coquelin was getting on more of the ball.
Yeah, no.
It seemed like Ozil.
What's been happening is, as Coquelin's been kind of trying to play that high pressing kind of Kante game. So he's not really been sitting in recent weeks, and he's been kind of going to get the ball and pushing high and trying to retrieve the ball high up the pitch. I've not really been feeling that idea. I don't know what the plan was. I couldn't see a shape.
The issue was that your fullbacks were incredibly predictable, and they just did not learn that when Arsenal have the ball, one has to stay and one has to go instead of them both go, because when they both go, you'll get countered and it'll leave space. Because every time the ball transitioned, you look at Arsenal and you're like, hang on, wait, there's two in the middle and two in the middle, two at the back. What's going on? Look who's wide. Moses wide, Alonso's wide, Pedro's wide. Pedro's screaming at the ball. Costa just wants a goal today. He couldn't care less. And you're just looking at it and you're just thinking, surely you can see this, Wenger. Surely you can see this from
especially from your view.
Surely you can see it. I just didn't quite grasp it. I just couldn't understand how this
so, let's go through the goals. So, first goal, Alonso. There's a few Arsenal fans saying that should have been a foul or whatnot. I don't know. No, I'm not. Whether it was or not, I just can't be bothered getting into it. At the end of the day, like, I was complaining before that goal even went in because we were losing every header. I don't understand how a left wing back and a right back get into an aerial duel in that part of the pitch. Like, what is going on there?
What do you think of Walcott and what he should have done?
I was fuming.
He looked at him. He looked at him. Did you see it?
He sees that he's there. That's the problem. Now, if he's not seen him, I'll be annoyed anyway because it shows a lack of awareness. But he's looked at him. He saw his run and he's just left him. I don't know what he was thinking.
If that happened on, we play Saturday and Sunday football. If you've seen that happen and that goal happen, you'd be looking at that player and being like, yes, it's not your position, but do a job. cut him
Yeah,
out, cut his run up at least. Don't
do
jump
something.
because that run was coming in, and anybody could have seen that coming. You could have seen Alonso anticipated it. Fair play to him, and he went for it. Bellerin, unfortunately, got caught up in the middle. Luckily, he was back on the bench, and everything was fine because that was
Did he
my
lead
first
with
thought.
his elbow? I don't know. This is what people are saying. Like I can.
It doesn't matter because for me, he's looking at the ball. He's just trying to head the ball.
Yeah, but
Bellerin
like,
was
think
also.
if I go in to tackle someone and I go through the man and I end up getting the ball, it's still a foul. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's a question. I'm not saying that that was definitely that shouldn't have been allowed. I don't really care. It's
It, what it sprung for me though was the whole transition of the ball from Hazard to Pedro crossing it to Costa headering it to then Alonso. I mean,
it,
how many times could have Arsenal have broken up that play? And it just looked like they were just on the field by themselves. There was training ground stuff. That
it
was
was a,
not
it
like
was a, it was
pressure.
a quality cross though.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah,
quality cross.
yeah. Pedro's coming into his time, but for me, the big difference was the second half when Kante came on. So then there's two Kantes now, and he's cutting up play from left and right. Matic is in the middle, like, I don't know where you are. I'm just going to play the ball. And then it just got silly, and Hazard's goal. I mean, just
So that goal is one of the most sickening goals I've ever seen Arsenal concede.
I couldn't believe
I
it.
like it's the fact that I know as an Arsenal fan I'm going to be seeing that goal for years down the line. Like whenever we play against you or whenever they're showing Hazard at his best, I can't believe no one's dragged him back.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many challenges that could have, should have, would have happened, and then Koscielny just at the last minute just wrong foots and gets his balance all wrong. So then Hazard notices it, cuts outside, and then delays his shot. So then Czech is just wondering, hang on. So Czech's done the right thing, anticipating the shot instantly, but he delayed it. But I was just thinking to myself, that's five people, surely.
Yeah,
That's
no,
five.
it was
Surely
five. It was five. It was five.
five
And
Arsenal players.
Sanchez is not doing that on the other side. Someone's putting a tackle in, someone's knocking him off balance, someone's pulling him over. Like that's just what's happening.
Yeah, the issue is, I think the difference between Chelsea and Arsenal is that Chelsea are very balanced. You look better offensively, while Chelsea still look great defensively. If you catch my drift, when Arsenal are in defense or playing the ball from the back, it looks like just get it up there as soon as possible because we're in trouble already. I just got that feeling, like the way they press, and I think that just anticipated the third goal when
Oh my God.
got the ball and he was wondering, oh my gosh, I just got to get rid of it. Not thinking, not looking. You have time. You have time. He hits it, and then it just couldn't have, for our Arsenal fan, been any worse. I mean, what do you think, Fabregas?
Are we talking? What do I think in terms of Cesk's goal, or what do I think in terms of Czech?
I mean,
both.
Both, man. Because
Right. Czech, and anyone who knows me, who I talk to often about Arsenal, and if you go back to the hangout sessions, that's when Czech first came in, I've always liked Ospina. I always thought, Czech, I don't know. Like, obviously he's a respected keeper, but I like Ospina. I didn't think we needed to add anything there, really. And I think it's time Ospina comes in. As for Cesc, it was horrible to see that go in. I'm surprised he didn't celebrate. He might as well have. Like, we still don't like you, Cesc, so you might as well have just celebrated. Doesn't matter either way. You'll never get our respect anymore. So just celebrate, bro. Like, I don't know why you're not celebrating. You just scored against Arsenal.
The reason why I say both to you at that point was because if Czech didn't do that, no way would a Fabregas have scored today.
Bro, what is he doing? He's past it. Listen, the team the team Czech came up with when he was doing his best for Chelsea, everyone's over the hill. Like I know goalkeepers can play for longer, but look at it. Drogba, done. Lampard, done. Terry, pretty much done. Like the only one who's going is probably Robin.
True.
Like Czech is past his best. What are we doing? He's holding on someone's space.
That's why when we sold him to you, because you remember he only really went to Arsenal because he said his family lives in
Yeah,
London,
yeah.
so he doesn't want to go elsewhere. Because I'm
Mm.
sure if it was worldwide, he would have had a heck of a lot more options. And no disrespect to Arsenal, I'm not saying he wouldn't have gone to Arsenal, but I
Yeah.
would have said he would have considered more options.
Yeah, of course.
But
It was literally only Spurs or Arsenal that would have gone for him or would have got him at that time. And obviously Spurs had Lloris and
yeah,
it was
I
just
just think as well. What did you think of Giroud coming on and scoring at the end?
I think Giroud is an excellent impact player. I wouldn't have started him today. If he had started today, we would have had even less options up front, to be honest, because he
True.
would have just been so isolated. I think Giroud's just excellent impact player when we've got the ball and we're dominating possession as we were kind of in the last 5 minutes. For what reason? Even though you were playing well, we had 8 players up front pretty much. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like him as an impact player. Like it would have been nice against Watford the other night when we lost again to maybe have brought him on. Like I don't see why he would have started that game. But I like Giroud. Like you'll never hear me calling Giroud a lamppost or whatnot.
Yeah.
He just
He does
shouldn't.
it. He does it for you every season. I mean, the thing for me is that this is surely the moment where it happens for Arsenal. This is surely it. What do you think? Because you have
Well,
the injuries in the midfield. Wenger gets sent to the stands, and now you lose to Chelsea. What do you think? End of the season. What's the goal now?
top four. Like I said after the Watford game, if we beat Watford and we come into this game, I would have said, okay, we're in a title race at this point. If we come into this game knowing that if we beat you 3 points behind you, we're in a title race. Like I would have definitely said that. But now, 12
It's
points
12.
behind Chelsea after the Watford game, I'd have said, well, now I would have said today, if we'd beat you, we're sat here talking now. If we had beat you today, I would have said, well, we're pole position for a Champions League place because I
Yeah.
still think you'll go on and win it. I think now, as heartbreaking as it is to say, and as repetitive as it is to say, we got to get that top four now. That's it. Now that's it. In my
Because it is
opinion,
so competitive in that top four.
there's
You just have
60.
to move on, and you know, I think all the Arsenal fans. I'm sure there's going to be Arsenal TV today. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say stuff, but I think it's time to just get behind them and just move on because you have to accept that the season may not be done, but the top place. It's hard work. I've seen it done before. I've seen it done before, but that looks like a lot of work to do.
Nah. Chelsea got it now. Well, they ain't got it because if the players start thinking they got it, they'll slip up. But there's there's so much room for error for Chelsea now. Like I can't see them slipping up enough with this many games to go to allow someone back in. And the others are all playing against each other as well. So everyone's going to drop points against each other. Like Arsenal still need to play Spurs, Man City, Man United, Liverpool. Arsenal got to go Anfield, you know? So it's like, it, and Arsenal won't just want to go to Anfield, and Arsenal won't just want to go to White Hart Lane. They won't really want to be playing against Arsenal either. Everyone's going
No.
to drop points against everyone, and I just don't see Chelsea slipping up now. The pressure's is not on, but it's lessening. They're nearly there.
The worst thing I think about for everybody else is that just try and look at it from a neutral rather than as a Chelsea fan, is that Chelsea are getting more healthy. As you've seen, Zuma's come back into the squad today.
Oh my god,
You know.
that step over at the end nearly made me.
It's confidence. It's confidence. A centre back doing that to you, really. It's confidence, but it's because they're coming more healthy now. We're set in our way, and worst case scenario. Oh no, we'll just put on Fabregas. We'll just put on Willian. There's too many options there for us to slip up. I mean, if we do slip it up, I mean, this would be probably one of the most embarrassing slip-ups, I think, of all time. But the likelihood of that happening is low. I just think it's a fair... You know me. I've been on this show a few times, and I've always supported Wenger as much as I possibly can. I mean, you've always been to and fro. But this probably is the first time I thought to myself, oh, that contract extension, man. Would I love to be a fly in the wall? I mean, what do you think? Oh.
I was frustrated with Gary Neville at the end of that game because there's an Arsenal fan who had the right to protest. He had a sign saying enough is enough, time for change. and he didn't say anything about Wenger going. He said, time for change. That's what the sign said. Enough is enough. Time for change.
Correct.
Neville interpreted, like, he saw that as an attack on Wenger, even though it said nothing about Wenger.
Correct.
I want change. Like, I want change from the top. This is the problem. Oh, I'm just so frustrated. I think Wenger's time's up. Is stale, if I have to say, and he's one of the things that needs to change. But there's a lot more than that. I was
Correct.
just very frustrated with the comments from Neville because there was nothing that sign said about Wenger, and that was the problem last season. There was a time for change protest at Arsenal last season, like arranged by the fans, and a lot of fans decided to turn up and sing "One Arsene Wenger," even though the protest was never about Wenger. It's not about Wenger. It's about trying to move the club forward.
Correct.
Clearly, the club has no direction or vision. Like, we're losing our identity today. That performance from Arsenal was the kind of performance I grew up watching Patrick Vieira and Gilberto or Manuel Petit putting in against Chelsea. Dominant, confident, strong.
Correct. Yeah. No.
And now the way Coquelin bounced off Hazard is just everything. Oh my God.
That's your holding central midfielder. That's your defensive midfielder. That's the guy who's meant to be cutting up play, putting interception in, and being the directional person to pass the ball. And the way Hazard just went past him is bad. I agree with you. I mean, Arsenal, you have to move on from this loss very quickly. You've got Barcelona now. I don't think that's your next game, is it? Is it Barcelona?
Bayern.
Bayern. But I'm telling you now that I completely agree with you. Change needs to happen. This money stuff needs to start kicking in now. People at the top needs to be taking this club very seriously and wondering how it's moving forward. Because I think that's Arsenal's frustration. We're happy coming fourth, like in a sense of, it could be much worse. However, where are we? Each season, you guys seem to look at yourself and think, where are we going? Because, last season with Chelsea, we were 1 point off the relegation and we start coming up. When we finished 10th, we knew, right, we're buying this player, that manager. You know what I mean? You can see it moving forward. Well, I feel that with Arsenal, God help, like, the transfer market, if, Wenger, if he's still in, or the new manager or the club, do not bring in a whole new role of players, I think.
My frustration with Arsene Wenger is the fact that we've had so many squads since the night Arsenal died, was the night we lost the Champions League final. Since then, it's just been false promises and just bollocks, really. Like,
I remember Graham Souness said a few weeks ago that Arsenal have just turned into a squad where it's just always the bridesmaid and never the bride, and something just that really stuck a chord to me. You're always nearly there, and you are in the conversation. However, you're not the one.
The two defeats we've had this week are two performances I've seen it's 3 performances. So last weekend, we were brilliant against Southampton. We've got that kind of performance in us at any given moment in the season, as Chelsea know, because we've managed to pull one out. I don't know how, earlier in the season at home against Chelsea. The second one this week against Watford at home. I've seen that game so many times where we failed to turn up against a smaller team. They may have got an early goal, and then we're just battling to try and get back in the game. And then today, coming up against a team we should be, at least we're supposed to be competing with, and it's just easy for them.
What do you think of Sanchez's mindset right now? Because I was expecting Ozil to disappear here and now again, but Sanchez was making runs, he was coming back, and no, he wasn't performing at his best. Some of his passes was a bit off in the second half.
Yeah,
but I could just see he already was like, "Get me off the field." I think it was already 1-0, and he was like, "Get me off." I know
it's mad because he's not normally like that. You know what I mean? He's normally, or if I honestly, hand on heart, if I'm Alexis, I'm looking for a way out, because what do you see? If I'm Alexis, what am I seeing here?
Yeah. What more does he need to do?
What am I seeing here? Alexis can be in pretty much any team in the world. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
world class,
yeah. So I don't know. I don't. I've resigned to the fact that him and Özil will go. You know, like
Wow.
I've resigned to that fact because I've seen it all before. I've seen Fabregas go. I've seen Van
Yeah.
Persie go. I've
Yeah.
seen Nasri have a brilliant season and
Yeah.
go. You know what I mean? I've seen
Yeah.
it all before. Like every season is the same thing.
Mm.
What
I,
what was I gonna
you,
say to you?
you hit the nail on the head right there.
Mm.
Everything is the same thing. It's like you could almost roll the last 10 seasons that Arsenal have had into
Yeah,
one.
that's
It's and that's where I think the Arsenal fans have a right to complain and say we want
mm,
change, because something's got to give. We've got to give it our all, and it seems like either there's a mindset or there's a way of playing. For me, looking at it from a Chelsea perspective and looking at Arsenal today is what I thought of them the past, like the whole season really. Very predictable, and not willing to change methods in a sense
mm,
of, yeah, you brought on more attacking midfielders, but just looking at your shape and just seeing Monreal and is it Gabriel on the other side just moving forward is like, have you not learned? You can't do that. Like, and each time it was just wave after wave of counter-attacking. And sure, some things did happen, some things didn't. But I was just thinking to myself, surely one of you got to tuck in. I mean, if that was a Saturday, Sunday game for me, I mean,
mm.
even my captain would have looked at me as a left wing back, because that's why I play, because I'm quite lame like that, and he would have said, "Tuck in. We cannot let them get away with that." And it all comes down to, as you said, yeah, there's strength. There's also leadership. Who's
Mm,
doing that? Who's the one that's going to say, come on, guys, let's crack it together and let's grab our necks to it?
mm.
Because if we were 2-1 down to Arsenal, I guaranteed Hazard would have done that. I guarantee Diego Costa would
It's
have.
interesting because Steve Bold is a man I grew up looking at, dominant, vocal. He weren't the captain, but he was a leader, and he's on the sideline, and not even he's saying anything. Anyway, let's move away from Arsenal because I'm depressed right now. I'm just looking at Arsenal's. I'm just looking at Chelsea's next 6 or 7 fixtures, and it's ridiculous. It's like so Chelsea next weekend, lunchtime, Sunday. Burnley away. Then is Wolves away in the FA Cup. Then we got Swansea at home, West Ham away, Watford at home, Stoke City away, Crystal Palace away. No, Stoke City away, Crystal Palace at home. It's like now that's it. You've come through it. Liverpool, Arsenal,
Yeah,
four
but
points.
you think it's it. But for me, this is where it will get less entertaining. Being a Chelsea fan and seeing how we win the Premier League, this is where it gets less entertaining. This is where we get more defensive. This is where we get a little bit more nervous, and this is where we start to be more defensive. You see how comfortable we played 5-4-1 without the ball today.
Mm,
This is where it starts to kick in, and this is really important as to learn from the mistakes that we've previously done, is to take these games seriously and in their stride. Sure, they're coming to Stamford Bridge, but I still believe that the Premier League is the most competitive league in the world. And you cannot go into games, as Conte learned very early on, you cannot go into games thinking that you've won. This is not Italy. This is not Spain. So I still think, we need to concentrate, keep our head together. But the brilliant thing about this is we're not in Europe, so we can train.
it's
Everyone's coming back
ridiculous.
slowly but surely. It is ridiculous. But as Pep said, Chelsea is the only team that can lose the Premier League. So still plenty of time, still plenty of football to happen, still a lot to happen. I think the
Mm.
silliest thing I heard this week definitely was Jurgen Klopp has to go. That
Do you
was
know
quite
what?
funny.
I've not actually heard a Liverpool fan say that. I've seen accounts on Twitter dedicated to him, but I'm sure that's United or Everton fans
I
having a
listened.
laugh.
I listened on BBC Radio 5 Live to some
Oh my
people
God.
talking about it, and everyone was just like, "What are you talking about?
Nah,
What
that's
are you
gotta be
talking
a
about?"
troll. I can't. I
He's
can't.
changed. He's changed that club so much. And again, Liverpool, you can look at them and say you're moving forward, not in the strides that you want to, but you're getting there. You're moving forward. You can see how their club's developing and everything like that. I just think that this is a competitive league. This is what we pay for. This is what
Mm,
we, if it was so predictable, we wouldn't care. Like, sure, Arsenal, Chelsea would expect to win today's game. Yes. But when you're watching it as a fan or as a spectator, as a neutral, you're still looking at like, it's a big game.
yeah.
And certain situations where anything can happen. So I know everyone will look at the headline and say, well, yeah, that's what I expect. But I still think it's a very fun league. But nah, it's ours to lose. Arsenal's to try and keep in fourth place. But,
Oh my God.
still Champions League, still everything. Just got to try and, as I keep saying at this time every year, I should just set a calendar alarm really every time this year and just say, make sure everyone, try and get everybody healthy. And what do you guys do at training? I don't know what you do. I don't know.
Anyway, that's what me and Lamar think. Happy day for Chelsea fans. Heartbreaking day, really, for Arsenal fans. Make sure you drop a like, share the video, follow us on Twitter at The Hang Sesh, find us on Facebook. Oh, yeah, we're on SoundCloud now. Find us on SoundCloud if you want to stream whilst, on the go. But yeah, peace out.